Well, hello everyone. My name is Michel, and thank you very much for joining us. Today, I'm really delighted to host Carl Beech, the creator of the BeechBand, a new wearable device to manage Parkinson's symptoms. So Carl was 51 when he was diagnosed with young onset Parkinson's, and he began to experience slurring and rapidly worsening stammer. So faced with the loss of his speech, which happens to some of us indeed, he nearly gave up hope. But then, while experimenting with the therapeutic tapping technique, he had a personal breakthrough. Rhythmic tapping allowed him to regulate his speech and relieve his stammer. So this led to an idea. What if this could be turned into a wearable device that can be helping many other people apart from Carl? So today, Carl will be sharing his experience with the BeechBand, and his story, as you will see, is truly inspiring. Though it is important to remember that Parkinson's is complex, we all know it, and no single approach works for everyone. That's why we call no silver bullet. So the BeechBand is a wellness device, not a medical treatment, but please speak with your medical team if you have any concerns about using the device. So before we start, as always, I would like to remind everyone that this session is for information and education purposes only. There will be time for questions as always again. And if you want to ask a question, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. Please do not put it on the chat, put it on the Q&A, please. So Carl, thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure, good to be with you.
When we spoke earlier, you have hinted that there has been a big change in your own Parkinson's journey, and I wondered if you would want to share this with our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's quite a personal story. Just to say, when I came up with the concept of the tapping, the big breakthrough for me was that it had to be a subconscious signal. Often cueing is, you follow a bit or you look for lines in the ground, but I had this counterintuitive thought that the signal had to go straight to my brain. So that you needed to be like someone who lived by the train track. When the trains go past, after a couple of months, you tune them out. And when I achieved that through this tapping technique, it wasn't just my voice. My foot drop corrected, my leg that was dragging came good. I looked in the mirror, my face masking. I didn't look as miserable, put it that way. I used to say I'm miserable because I was born in Dagenham. It turned out it's face masking. And I saw a lot of resolution symptoms. That's when I phoned Nick, who's now our CTO. Nick and my CEO, and Mark, were in the room with me. Nick's an amazing, savant really, annoyingly intelligent, and built the first device, which just to show you was this. This was the first one, which is the idea I had, which was a rubber hatchet that Nick took out, put a mobile phone thing in and created a battery pack and put it through the post in a padded envelope, and I put it on and it resolved my symptoms. And I'm patient zero. So I've been tapping and using the device for 13 months. I used it very sparingly because I was told by people that, my brain would tune it out. It would lose its efficacy. So I would use it 20 minutes at a time. If that, I'd turn it on, I could speak, because it was really bad, my speech, really bad. And I'd turn it off. For a moment, I was worse. And then I'd go back to where I was. I'd use it 10 minutes. Over a period of time, I noticed that I wasn't getting worse when I turned it off. My symptoms would return normally. And then I noticed that for a minute or two, it was as if the band was still on. By that time, they went one like this, then we got to the pair. That's the latest one. And I'm not wearing one at the moment. So that effect grew. And then I decided that after 9 months, because it hadn't worn off on me, that it was still producing results, I thought I'm going to wear this a lot. And for the last 8 weeks or so, 9 weeks, I've worn it as much as possible, apart from one period of a week, which I'll come on to. And what I can say, and this is my personal story, I'm not saying anything beyond what I'm experiencing and what I've seen in other people who have followed suit, but I've been medication free for 5 weeks, maybe a bit more, probably down from 10 pills to a couple of pills for a number of weeks before that. I'm completely symptom free. I've just been to see my neurologist, who is arguably one of the world's leading experts in this. He's been president of the World Parkinson's Congress, all of that good stuff, leading figure. And he told me that I no longer reach the threshold of someone who has Parkinson's. I would not be diagnosed. He said, he said, you're exceptionally fit and healthy. I was belt and braces diagnosed by 2 neurologists, also a DAT scan, which showed bilateral degradation of dopamine neurons. My latest progression before I came onto this was cervical dystonia. I was struggling swallowing. Every single symptom, as far as I can see at the moment, as far as I can feel, has been resolved. That's been backed up by a clinical exam. I've been sent away.
Yes.
The words, "You are now normal again."
And for people who are watching you on Instagram and TikTok, I think they will remember indeed some videos where we could see that you were being impacted by the symptoms and you were looking totally different from tonight.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It's not just me. We know from what we're being told that there are numbers of others who are experiencing just the same trajectory. And it seems to be, anecdotally at least, that it's when you wear the band a lot, that you see a significant difference. Now, just to show, I mean, I can show you this. I couldn't balance on my right leg 4 weeks ago. I mean, I'm like, you know, okay,
like a ballerina.
yeah. I mean, I have no muscle fatigue. I have no stress tremors. My little finger used to go about all the time. It's gone. I mean, I'm feeling fantastic, but also like my skin is completely cleared up. I've no flaky scalp.
It's looking very impressive. Maybe just going back a tiny bit on the moment that sparked the idea for the BeechBand. When did your personal journey with Parkinson's turn into what is now an invention, really?
So it was fueled by stubborn resistance. I was falling apart. My speech started to go about 12 years ago. I mean, my neurologist thinks the story goes back 15 years. My original guy thought it was 13, so they're about close. My voice was slurring way back. I was a CEO of organisations. My voice wasn't cutting through in rooms. My voice is actually very different to what it's been for many years at the moment. Even my mum and dad say I don't recognise your voice. It's astonishing. So I went to DRC, a Democratic Republic of Congo, to infiltrate a child cobalt mine, artisanal slave mine, basically, which is a little bit of a, shall we say, is a bit sporty, because you're not meant to do that sort of thing, especially with Parkinson's. But me and my friend Mark Preston, we wanted to gather evidence of child cobalt mining. So we snuck in, took 362 photos, dodged the bullets and snuck out and got home. But it was actually really traumatic. It's not the danger. I nearly got done over a few times. But it wasn't that. It was seeing the children and the stress of seeing the children in absolutely horrific conditions. And then followed straight after by speaking to in Australia, like 15 keynotes in 12 days. I came back home, I couldn't speak. I just couldn't speak. I've got a video when the night I discovered tapping, I sent a video to my dad and cried because I found a way to speak. But the vocal freeze was so severe, I couldn't get more than a few words out at a time. In fact, when I was upset or under pressure, I literally could not speak. Now, I'm a man of faith, just put it out there. When on my diagnosis day, I'd actually prayed a prayer in a taxi that my speech and my mind would be preserved. I said, God, all of me belongs to you, but please leave my speech and mind. Because I want to tell my kids I love them. When my speech went, I was devastated. And so that was the trigger. I thought, so then my neurologist said, basically, I'm going to translate it. You're stuffed. You're going to lose the ability to speak. You're not going to get it back. That's red flag to a bull. So for 12 weeks, I studied cueing, different vocal techniques. None of it worked until I discovered I had this radical idea. First was, where's the safest place you've ever been? Mother's room, I thought. It was a thought from heaven, really. I just thought, I'm not that intuitive. And so I thought, what does a baby feel in the womb? I looked up late-term pregnant mum, and it was about 80, 85 beats a minute. So I thought I'll go with that because maybe there's a memory in your head that once upon a time you were safe. Because I was getting anxiety attacks as well. I've never been anxious. It was horrible. Then actually a little old woman outside a coffee shop. I was about to have a panic attack. I said, can you give me a hug? I'm about to have a meltdown. I've got Parkinson's. And she said something really nice to me and I had a little cry. And it went. I thought, there's something about human contact, the mother's heartbeat, all of that stuff. I was actually in the double-decker watching Apocalypse Now when the thought came to me, that's the thing. ignore it at 84, 85 beats a minute.
Mm.
That brought the correction. And interestingly, and again, anecdotally, in about 1 to 2% of people who experience the device, they often have panic attacks and feel sick. And
Yes.
it's because all of them had a traumatic birth. Isn't that interesting?
Hmm. So can we go back to the technology itself? I think that I'd like to ask you, how do the BeechBand's rhythmic vibrations work? What is happening in the brain or the body? You give us some hints now, but what happens in the body or the brain that makes this tactile stimulation effective, really?
Well, there's loads of different thoughts about this, and that's why we need to do the research. So at the
Mm.
moment, it's all anecdotal. I mean, even my neurologist, who is extremely qualified, is slightly baffled, but not confused, but baffled as to what's actually happening here. Have you regrown dopamine? Is there dopamine appearing in other parts of your brain? Are you borrowing dopamine? Are you entraining your brain? Is it a combination of
Mm.
it? What I do think happening is there's some research out there that suggests that when the subconscious signal goes into the basal ganglia, it causes some kind of entraining in the brain that sticks.
Mm.
It opens a gateway is opened and new pathways are found, and it seems to happen very, very quickly. So
Yes.
I think there could be a combination of factors. One of the things I do know is that I feel fantastic. I mean, I genuinely feel really good. And it's not the honeymoon of, oh, suddenly I got my life back. I'm
Mm.
just, I feel level, joyful. I'm back to my old mischief making self. I mean, my mates are really, because they've got away with it for years. I'm back and I'm
I
worse.
can, we can see that.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Yeah.
So many people in our community will be asking about the scientific backing behind this. And you have used the word anecdotal many times. I myself have seen some small trials suggesting that vibrotactile stimulation can create lasting benefits, but they tend to be small, and there hasn't yet been a really large,
Yeah.
totally scientific trial. Where does the BeechBand sit in terms of evidence, and what kind of studies, if any, would you see in the future pipeline?
Well, we're taking this super seriously. I mean,
Mm.
this is potentially new medicine. It shocks me that there is very little peer-reviewed evidence and investigation around this. I mean, everything's resonating, right? Everything's vibrating. So the thought that we've not looked at this seriously, I found quite shocking. It seems that we've been locked in one direction, which is surgery and pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
Um, Interesting, I thought, because one of the things that led me to this was I thought, why has the medication stayed the same, the gold standard for 60 years? I mean, that's just odd. Is that a money decision? What is that?
Mm.
So that did prompt me to look at other stuff. But when you do that, you are in danger of feeling ridiculed,
Mm.
because it can seem a nonsense. There is nothing to back you up. So I and my colleagues are in somewhat of an exposed position because we're pioneering new ground that no one's really looked at, and it flies in the face of existing understanding. But that's how things change. And what it needs is someone who actually doesn't mind looking a bit stupid, standing up saying, "Look, I'm vibrating, I'm feeling a lot better." So what we need to do now, and we're taking it seriously, we've recruited someone to oversee our research. We set a significant amount of money aside to
Mm.
investigate this. We're partnering with academic institutions. My neurologist, I'm hoping, obviously will get involved. We've got a professor of psychology that's helping us. So we've got a team around us who are some of the finest minds, some of whom actually have had PD for a long time, have been affected by it. Arguably the world's leading speech pathologist is on speed dial if we need him. So
Yeah.
we are investing a lot of time into this. It's at the forefront of our minds to establish exactly what's going on. But to those people who say, well, you've got no scientific rationale, well, neither did the person who created anesthetic until they created it. So, to break new ground, you've got to be a bit ballsy, I'd say, and just get out there and try it. And here's the other thing, just to say, if we've gone medical device route first, you're talking about millions of pounds potentially, and that money would be passed on to the customer who would never be
Yeah.
able to afford the product that they've created unless they sell it to the NHS. Well, our mission is to provide an affordable solution to everybody, and even provide it free if we need to, and even set aside
Yes.
25% of profits to help the cause of cure research and supply devices to the poor. So we've done it the other way around, but now we're seeing it having a significantly dramatic effect from what we're being told.
Yes.
we really got to accelerate this. And I think there's a strong argument that we should be fast-tracked by what we're seeing, because people are getting their, it seems that people are getting their lives back. I'm not making any claim. I'm telling you what we're seeing. And it's, I spend a lot of my time in tears because it's not just Parkinson's. This seems to be a lot of conditions from what we have been told in the basal ganglia. It's astonishing what we're seeing.
On that note, can you share a story that would have particularly struck you, where someone's daily life was significantly improved by using the BeechBand, aside from you?
Yeah, I could tell you many stories. I mean, I like I say, I spend a lot of time in tears. I can tell you what I've seen firsthand, and until we research it, I can't say it's a valid, scientifically proven state of fact. But what I can say is that I saw one woman who came around to my flat for a photo shoot for our website, who is normatively on a mobility scooter, walk through my door and tell me that and she said, I've sold the mobility scooter. Since I've worn the device for 6 to 8 hours a day for the last 2 weeks, I've become quite well. Including, like me, not wearing the BeechBand for significant periods of time. I just wear it 2 hours a day now to keep myself topped up. My own story, I am symptom free, to repeat that. I wear the device 2 hours a day because I think it must be doing some good. I have more energy and more fight than ever before, even before I was ill. I've seen someone in front of me who couldn't lift a drink without going all over the place, couldn't speak properly and walk terribly, sit in front of me, drink smoothly, I've got it on video, speak normally and walk down the road like he was swaggering like Tom Cruise without any meds in him and no BeechBand on after 3 weeks.
This is amazing. So look, I know that Parkinson's UK is supporting this project, which is still worth mentioning because it's got a good accolade and endorsement. How important has the feedback from the Parkinson's community been in shaping the product, and what have you learned from the early users of your device?
Well, firstly, we're unique anyway in that we're patient-led. Now, I'm someone who still officially has Parkinson's, and all of our thoughts and product development are put through the filter of how does this help the patient? And of course, we're very open to critique. So we have a very, very active Facebook community group. There's about 4,000 in it now, 5,000, something like that. So how many bands are out there now?
15,000.
There's 15,000 bands out in the wild. There's 5,000 in the community group. And so look, if you do a clinical trial, is it 20, 30 people? I've got 15,000 people out there giving me feedback in real world situations. And we listen to it very, very carefully. And all of our decisions are geared around what does the patient want, not what does the company need to make quick. So for example, this device now as it is, it's one button on and off. You don't want loads of fiddly controls. There's only one frequency, not the ability to change frequencies. Everyone says, I want to change the frequency, to which my response is, then you'll probably undo all the good. Because if you keep fiddling around, you're going to confuse your brain. We've seen that we might have the Goldilocks frequency. So one frequency, it's a very, very simple, dumb device. No Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth, because the patient doesn't need it. They just want to put something on and it works. And that's good for low-income people. So all of these things shape it. But when they moan about a strap or it's too noisy, then we look at ways to do it. We will always have a very low-cost device, no matter what.
I think that's amazing. Yes, that's amazing. You put it within the reach of most people. Maybe let's just put a number on it. Actually, I know we going sideways and with it's £50, so £49.50.
Yeah. And even when we improve the device as a result of feedback, we'll be committed to trying to keep that increase down. Now, we obviously have to survive as a company. We can't forge the cause of research. We can't push that forward without, being able to exist. If we could give them away, we would. And actually, we do. But we sell them very cheaply. We'll go for as small a price increase as we can. But if we can drive the original device down even further, then we will. Because this is about changing people's lives. It's people before profit. I was in a hole. I was really in quite a mess, to be honest. I found a way out. Now, if I try and profit hugely out of finding a way out of a hole, how psychopathic am I? So this is about ending this awful disease.
Yes. Yeah. And Carl, actually looking at your website earlier today, I could see that I think that you offer to people who would find that it's not working for them to return the device within 45 days.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
just to put people's mind at ease, because it seems a bit too good to be true. And I agree that actually we all would love to live the dream. But for anyone who would be thinking that maybe this is a scam of some kind, I don't think that's the case. Parkinson's UK are supporting you, Carl. And if people, the amount is not very expensive, and if it doesn't work, people can send it back. So how better can it get?
I occasionally get called a scammer, and I find it highly offensive.
Yes.
You know, I put heart and soul in my team. We put heart and soul into this because we saw.
Oh, yes.
It's one of the few things that riles me. Not much does.
Mm.
A weak cup of tea really upsets me. But also,
No. But I have some sympathy for people in the audience who might have been burned through other suppliers, you see.
and
It's not just about you.
yeah, and false claims, but we really invested emotionally into this.
Yes.
Very values driven, actually. I mean, all
Yeah.
the people we recruit, we look for the values of the person more than anything else.
Yes. And I
Generosity,
agree.
integrity at the heart of what we're doing. And you know, I said to you before this, I'm not going to overstate anything. I'm just going to say exactly as it is. And if I did,
Yeah.
the reason I've got my colleagues with me is if I say anything,
Good.
they'll put a stick around me, they can pull me.
So let's just turn to the medical field for a moment. How are you working with healthcare professionals like neurologists or therapists to make the BeechBand really part of a wider care offering? And are you meeting any challenges in doing that?
Yeah, there is a challenge in the way medical devices are approved for patient-led startups. I mean, it is not geared for that, let's just say. But committed to working with, we found that working with the MHRA, the medical device regulatory guys, has been wonderful. They've been very supportive. We listen to their advice very, very carefully. But I also think there's an opportunity here. I think there's an opportunity for the patient-led innovation, you know, not the medical world-led innovation, to maybe forge a new path where if we come up with something that is clearly safe and clearly anecdotally helping, and there are thousands of them out there, maybe the 2-year trial period isn't quite as necessary in the same way because there is such a broad spread of impact.
Yeah.
So my hope is that we're able to work with the professionals. So for instance, Parkinson's nurses, physiotherapists, OTs, love it. Okay, put it on people's wrist, it works. I go around to clinics and rehabs by invitation. I've taken my colleagues, we take a bunch of BeechBands in and we watch live change in front of them. I just absolutely love it. Got a scheme whereby, depending on the size of practice, we'll give them free bands trying to help people. We'll give them to give away to people on low income. We'll leave a bunch they can use on people, as long as they just signpost where to get them from. And we're doing that up and down the country. We've got someone on staff who's helping forge those partnerships. And then, of course, there's the clinical research side.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
And my hope is that we become a class 2A medical device very, very quickly, because we need to, by what we're seeing, by anecdotally, what we're seeing, this has the potential to change the world.
So looking ahead for a second, are there any upcoming features or enhancements that you're particularly excited about? You touched on a few earlier. For instance, is there anything that might address symptoms that not yet tackled by the current version?
Anecdotally, and this is why we need to do the research, what we are seeing is so comprehensive and so shockingly impacting positively that currently I wouldn't change anything. Except listen to the feedback in some aesthetic issues, some noise issues, and we're listening to all of that, and there will be an announcement at some point when we're ready. But you know, we're a startup, we're a small team, we've got a lot to do, we've got to factor in the fact we don't want to increase prices, but in terms of what it actually does and the frequency we use, but we know that there's some style issues, some little gizzards that need to be added to make it more usable. We'll do that.
Good. So let's come back to the daily experience for a second. What everyday challenges do you think the BeechBand helps restore or improve for people with Parkinson's, and what does it give back in practical terms?
You know, when you want to have a cup of tea, and you've got Parkinson's or some tremor issue, and you're doing that every single time, and you can suddenly pick up a cup of tea and drink it. That's everything. It's not about going hang gliding again. It's the fact you can have a cup of tea. Your mate's not like look like you're drunk. It's like I can speak again.
Yeah.
Walk my dog. You know, that's what I see. And that gives you confidence. And that stops you being isolated. And that gives us our lives back. I've been buzzing around today like a nutter. Even I was an hour and a half away from my colleagues when they stayed in the office. I rearranged my entire flat because I could, and I'm not fatigued. I ran up 5 flights of stairs at Addenbrooke's Hospital because I could. So I got my life back. And suddenly it's like these little things that you take for granted, you get it back. That's what it does. It's the everyday little thing. I appreciate life so much more now. Being able to write a postcard to someone.
Yeah.
And go to the toilet without wetting myself. That's nice.
Yeah, I think we always sympathize with that. So you have positioned the BeechBand as a wellness device rather than a medical device.
Yeah.
Why is that? And what is the significance of the distinction? And how does it affect your development and in particular distribution approach?
Yeah, I appreciate the questions. It's really important. So we're learning a lot. So if you're a wellness device, there's you cannot use medical terms. And you can't make claims unless they've been verified. So normally what happens is you invent something or create something, and then you need to raise a lot of money to go through medical device approval, category 2A for anything that has an impact on the body, that has a, so how they call it, impact on energy transmitted to the body, the category 2A. You cannot make any claim outside of that. People can say how it's helping them, but we can only talk from a wellness point of view, which is fine. So we're talking about brain training. This thing, which is not medical term, it's totally accepted. There's all sorts of brain training out there. Our website will be redesigned around this. And anything that we see happen is anecdotal, and that's fine until it can be validated when we become a medical device. So as soon as we realised that this was doing more than keeping us calm, as soon as we realised that actually people were seeing something world-changing happening, apparently, we decided to go for category 2A medical device approval as fast as possible. And that's very expensive. So I need to keep selling, and we keep putting it out there. But we're very careful. It's why I'm being very cautious. It's why my colleagues here. I don't want to get my skis either side of the tree here. You know, what we've got is very precious. There are a lot of devices out there that aren't medical devices. They're wellness devices who are making medical claims. I'm not doing that. I'm telling you what people are telling us. I'm giving you my lived experience. And that's why we need to do the research.
Yeah.
Exciting thing is, no one out there really knows because no one's done this before. So we are seeing perhaps emergence, I would say, of new medicine.
Excellent. So look, you basically you know that our audience is very international, and talking about distribution approach for a second, I can't go on much further without asking you, when will this be available in the US?
November is the aim.
November. So for all our audience in the US, which is roughly 40% of our audience, from November or end of the year, the latest, you'll be able to buy it.
Yeah, we're coming for you, America. A date. Sometimes
So,
I've been advised to say.
Yes.
They will keep not completely. And then global markets steadily now. I think that will happen with rapidity from here.
So for people who would be in smaller markets abroad, should they just basically go to your website and send a request for information if someone is based in Ireland or Paraguay or New Zealand?
Absolutely drops. I mean, we want to be globally available. There is an app in development too that can be used by a smart. And we want to give a lot of support. Our customer support, I think, is actually fantastic. I'm biased, but they're brilliant. And
good.
Yeah. So all that has to be scaled up. So if you want,
absolutely,
all has to be scaled up, and at the same time do clinical research and trials, and you know, it turns out that inventing something is really easy.
The rest of it is difficult.
I got these guys in.
So I just wanted to ask you, how do you and your team, talking about them, engage with the broader Parkinson's community to really foster awareness, collaboration, and long-term impact for what you're doing?
Well, you know, I was immersed in that myself. I was CEO of Spotlight YPD. I'm patron now. Yeah, I love the Parkinson's community. I don't like why we're in it, but I love it. And my team It's so sacrificial, and they really take time to understand it. There's a couple of people on staff who've got autonomic conditions, but one of the pure joys is the people on the team are so committed to seeing the end of Parkinson. And we spend a lot of time talking to people and really trying to understand it. And you know, my own experience in family life and other stuff is that unless you've got it, you don't really understand it. I mean, it's horrific. It's so brutal. But they give it their best shot. And they give me lots of space and grace. And at times I went through some medication hell. And the way they treated me was amazing. Yeah, I'm very deeply grateful. And we're doing all that we can to really understand people. We understand that sometimes people communicate with us, they're a bit chippy. Well, because they've had a terrible morning, probably. And, you know, patience wears thin when you can't function, right?
Yeah.
And we try and reach back to everyone with grace and kindness and patience. Yeah.
So maybe the last question, and before we turn to the questions from the audience, is really looking ahead to the next, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, for instance. What is your vision for how wearable technology like the BeechBand could reshape Parkinson's care or even chronic disease management more broadly than just Parkinson's?
I think it might be like aspirin.
I
think it'd be commonplace. And I think my vision is that we'd see the end of Parkinson's, so you wouldn't see people with symptoms because they'd nail it before the disease develops. I don't know if this is functional cure. That's why we need to do the research. But what we're seeing seem to indicate that if we can nail this through the research, then we might see an incredibly cheap and easily replicated solution to autonomic.
Yes.
Anecdotally, I'm told, and from everyone who's tried it, that this thing resolves migraine in under a few minutes. It's in the basal ganglia. I mean, it's fascinating. So it could be like aspirin.
And it is non-intrusive as well, which is worth mentioning.
It doesn't taste terrible. And it looks quite stylish. Currently, it looks like a prison tag, to be honest with you. But we're working
on it. Looks like a watch. It looks like a watch.
Yeah, not
so
really.
Look, Carl,
don't put it in certain situations. It's not good. But yeah.
Sometimes I look at it expecting to see the time on it, but it's not. That's the only downside, I would just say.
Well, there may be an LED screen. Maybe we'll get one you can play Space Invaders, but right now, the best thing is you put it in things to really help.
So Carl, thank you very much. Your work really blends empathy, as we can see it, innovation and real-world impact for all of us. And I know our audience will be both encouraged and probably intrigued by what you've shared today. So without further ado, I'm going to have a look at what the audience has left in our Q&A box. And I see that we already have I got 40 questions. So I want to manage the expectations here. 40 is probably the maximum number of questions we could answer on a good day. So if you haven't put your questions in already, please do not rush to add too many because you might be disappointed. So someone is asking, I'm starting here with a question from Liz. She's asking, she's not living in the UK, but she's asking if it's available in the UK. Well, I think you have sold 15,000 of them in the UK.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Going that thing fast. And the time frame orders to getting on your list is what currently? 3 days. 3 days.
Wow, that's great. So Liz, I don't know where you're based, but when you come to the UK, you should not have any problem buying them.
Order for you in the UK and then post it out to you. That's fine.
And actually, Jackie tells us that she lives in Canada, and she's asking if we could have someone shipping the band to a UK address and have it shipped to Canada. Well, actually, Jackie, I think that's really for you to decide.
Stop. What other people send as gifts? Yes.
Now, a question here from someone anonymously, but quite a good question. You may not know the answer to that, but that person is asking whether the BeechBand will conflict with DBS surgery.
Yeah, I do know the answer to that.
Well, first, I was giving you too little credit.
What I would say is always check with your clinician. You don't know if there's a peculiarity around your DBS. What I do know is that everyone who's wanted with DBS and they've spoken to their clinician, they've been given permission. It's a bit like saying you can't have a mobile phone in your pocket that vibrates because it's so uninvasive. So if you can do that, you'll probably be all right. But we have seen what we've been told and what I've witnessed firsthand is that people with DBS get additional gains. So if they're still struggling with their speech, which is quite common, or freeze, that seems to be eliminated. And we have seen people not go for DBS, try the BeechBand and been quite satisfied, anecdotally.
Thank you very much. Tricia is asking about if you know the Q1 and the Q1 Plus device. I don't want to force you to talk about a competing device, but she's asking if it's quite similar or different.
Yeah, it's not. It's not soon. Firstly, it's not available for sale at the moment, and there's about £750 difference.
Mm.
And also, it's delivered in a very different way. It's pulse and vibration. It's adjustable. My contention is that adjustable frequencies and pulses are problematic for you.
Yes. So Cheryl is asking how long she should be wearing the BeechBand daily.
As much as possible. I cannot emphasize this enough from what I've discovered. Anecdotally, in my own life experience and the experience of my friends, wear it as much as possible. Charge it up, run the battery down, charge it up, run the battery down. As much as possible every day, 7 days a week.
Mm.
Maybe after a few weeks, like a lot of people are saying, they're telling us they're seeing some significant gains. Don't look for symptom improvement, is what I'd say. Just wear it.
Yes. So Andy bought a BeechBand from the word go. He doesn't say it doesn't work, but it says he says that he hasn't had the effect on. He hasn't felt any effect yet. He's wondering if it's to do maybe with the psychological mind that you are in when you buy this, or placebo, I guess, or whether.
We know it's not placebo because when people forget they've got it on, and then it comes to a stop, and they come to a stop, and they didn't realize they were even wearing it because they forgot. Like I've forgotten I'm wearing it, and I put my hand in the aquarium twice and broken them. We know it's not placebo. We know because when people turn it off, they at the start of their journey with it, they seem to have, like I did, increased symptoms. There will be a placebo effect, which is positive, which is once it starts working, you expect it to work, and therefore you feel super positive. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's because they're wearing it in the wrong place. Sometimes it's because they're fixating on the device. If you're thinking about it, it's like if I say think about pink elephants, don't think about pink elephants. You're going to think about pink elephants. So if you're constantly saying, I mustn't think about the device, you're going to run into it, it won't work. And also, we need to unlearn symptom behavior. Now, I'm saying, hear me out. Hear me out on this. My speech was terrible. And I expected to speak terribly. I didn't realize that my speech had got better for a couple of weeks because when I stopped the device, I just kept mumbling. I didn't need to. I expected to. So I went, but I didn't need to. Then I suddenly thought, I think that's me doing it. I trained in a symptom.
So for people like Andy who hasn't had a positive effect yet, what would be your advice? To try it for longer, try it again, or send it back if you really believe it doesn't work on you? Or...
There's more than that. There's more than that.
Yeah.
Like, so sometimes people have said to me, literally witness this. Someone will go, they're drinking like this. And then they put the BeechBand on and they'll drink like this. They go, it's not working. Go, what? Turn it off. Go, turn it on. It's not working. And it is. And so sometimes people have not noticed the improvement. They so expect to be unwell. It's sad, actually. Like that happened to me with my journey. I think I was getting better a lot faster. That's what I think. So I spoke to one guy who had MS. This is a guy I saw in front of me who couldn't walk really. And he could walk pretty smooth. And he said, it's just not working. So sometimes people around you see the improvements before you do.
Yeah.
One thing we do see is balance and posture change in people. That's anecdotally what I've seen. We need to research why this is. But people don't test for balance. If you can't balance, you don't walk around on one leg all the time or hop about. But if you wear the BeechBand if you're compromised on the right hand side, hold the BeechBand in your left hand and try and stand on your right leg and see what happens. And then it just seems for me, what happened to me was that entrained into my brain, and now I like retrain my brain so I can balance now. I'm like, honest, I can do.
So look, someone anonymously is asking a good question here, I think. Is the band more effective for some variations of PD, for instance, people who are tremor dominant or people who are rigidity dominant? Did you see that it was working better for certain variations, and God knows how many there are?
Anecdotally, okay.
Yes.
I saw impact faster on I'm not tremor dominant. I was stiff and slow movements, rigidity. I thought it didn't help tremor. I thought we were in a real problem. It's very complex to solve tremor. But then I'm going to just say again, what I'm seeing is the more people wear it, for the longer they wear it, every single day, it seems there's nothing that slows down the results that people seem to experience as we are told. Put it like that.
Good. So someone with a nickname, an avatar called Storm, I think it's an avatar, is asking which organizations are going to help you to provide the scientific research and the backup? And are you still looking for additional support, which is probably quite important if this person can help you?
Yeah, so we're forming relationships with academic institutions. We've got some of the greatest and most historic charities we're in contact with. I don't want to say too much on who's who at the moment. We're still put things in place. But let's just say we've got good people around us,
Yeah.
fine academic institutions, and some of the finest minds. And what we're sitting on, if we can establish the research and prove the science, could change the world.
Good. I have here several questions. My screen is full of when can we get into the States, the US? That is November. Does it work with DBS? We have answered that. The answer is yes. Why can you not ship to Canada? Can you ship to Canada?
Yeah, we don't want to. No, we are going to ship to Canada. Of course we are. We're committed to get this to the world. November for Canada, I'll be some time.
Good.
I knew that one. Actually, because it gets sold off. Yeah, we are committed to this being a global product. We have to navigate the various restrictions and requirements for every country. Can I just emphasize, we have moved like the wind. When people say just why aren't you in America? I only came up with this concept 13 months ago. We brought out the first product in under a year as a trial. We now have this product and we're refining this product. And we already plans for future, premium editions and an app in under 2 years. Most people would take years to do this. And we're doing it in a counterintuitive way from the ground up, without any venture capital funds, without men in suits dictating profit gains and so on. This is a bunch of people who come together to help the world. And we are going to come to you. We will be in your nation, but we're moving like the wind. But don't think we're not. We're really giving it our all.
So I have a funny situation here with Cathy is asking, can you wear it around your ankle? And I was just thinking this could lead to misunderstanding, but I will leave it to that. But Alison is basically sending her experience. She says she's strapping the BeechBand to her ankle and finding it helps her freezing. So Cathy and Alison, one is asking the question, the other one is responding already positively.
Yeah, I want to give a tip on that though, if I may.
Yeah, please do.
Normally start with the opposite side. Anecdotally, that's what we're seeing. So we need to research why. I think a lot of it was just intuition by me, but that's what we're seeing. But if you look at your ankle, see if I can do this. Look at this agility here. So if you look at your ankle, the bone, if you go to 8 o'clock and just above, set back, and you put it just there, it seems to have greater impact on everyone who puts it on their ankle.
Interesting.
Yeah, I
mean, you said
find out why. But and the other thing is, I spoke to a lady a week ago. She tried it on both wrists, both ankles. Now, I just said, can you just tuck it down your bra on your more stronger side? And she got an instant result. And that came to me because a Parkinson's nurse told me that tip. She said, if you find people who doesn't work on their wrists or ankles, tend to pop it into their vest pocket or down their bra, and every single time. Don't know why, we need to research it.
So Marcia is asking if there is a problem with combining therapies like red light therapy and the BeechBand.
I don't know until we research it. I've not heard of any issues. I've read around the evidence of red light. I can't really comment on it. I suppose jury's out for me. There'll be jury be out on BeechBand for some people, other than the fact that, I think we're seeing an 80% efficacy. But then when I talk to people or we give people additional coaching, that's creeping up further.
So Sukad is asking, actually, we went around the world talking about Canada, the US, etc. Are you shipping it already to mainland Europe, or are you waiting for some approvals?
November.
November as well. It's all happening then.
We're UK CA marked, EU marked. We're ready to go. It'll be November.
Perfect. 2 people are asking, actually, I don't think your device comes with an app, but 2 people are asking about the app version and connecting it to their watch. Is there any plans to do that, or is it?
Yeah, so we've taken on a developer, and we had a trial app out there which proved to be successful. So we're now developing an Android and iOS app which will be on a subscription-based model, probably with some additional gizzards to monitor and measure. But we're committed to that. The issue with the app would be it's very good for people on the go who can afford smartwatches, but of course it's probably going to drain your battery down. So go belt and braces, get a couple of BeechBands, buy an app. Maybe do a BeechBand cap, it makes your whole head vibrate.
So someone here is asking anonymously, has Michel used the band? Well, actually, Michel is wearing it now. Now, I will be totally candid. I have used it maybe 3 times, 15 minutes before going on holiday a month ago, and it hasn't really done anything to me. But based on my discussions with Carl and listening to him today, I will be wearing it. I've been wearing it today probably 6 or 7 hours, and I will be doing this for a few days. How long do you think, Carl, I need to do this to see if it does anything to me?
Well, when we saw measured response anecdotally, when we saw 25% of people had an almost instant response, it was like watching. Another 25% of people is kind of like weeks 1 to 3. Then we saw a sort of lesser cohort with like weeks 3 to 6. Some people were just creeping over that. But here's the thing. It was months 10 to 13 for me when I saw the greatest gains. This is if research shows us that this is brain entrainment, and if Parkinson's is a group of diseases, it's going to be different to everyone. What would be a tragedy? And we're going to be looking at how we help people, encourage people to keep it for longer and try it for longer. It would be a tragedy if people gave up, when if they kept it on and persisted, they saw a breakthrough. Now, the disease doesn't affect us until 60 to 80% of our dopamine neurons. Well, what if there's a lot to make up in the meantime in brain entrainment before you feel physical benefit? Why are you expecting an instant result from something where disease that crept up on you for 10, 15 years before you felt it? You've got to treat it like that. Long term, stick with it. I mean, when this changed my life, it was fast. My knees are killing me because my gait corrected overnight. My knees hurt. They've hurt for about a week because it has completely altered my gait overnight after 13 months.
So going back to the fact that I'm using the device, actually, to that person who was asking me, am I wearing it? I'm wearing it. I'll be very candid. I will wait a few weeks to see if it does anything to me. I don't think there is a lot of downside as far as I'm concerned, and I think it's usually worth a try.
It would look some boyish charm, I think. So just keep it up.
So Andy's making a very good comment. He says, I believe a positive attitude and action is the best way to combat the symptoms. Well, Andy, I embrace that as well. I think that actually positive attitude and exercise, nutrition, absolutely. We're talking here of one angle, which is the technology, but don't stop exercising for sure. That's absolutely certain.
You know, I know, reduce stress, eat well. What I would say is that I can't, again, I've got no evidence. This is my life I'm talking about now. It seemed to moderate other behaviors in me, in terms of sleep, attitude. I mean, I feel, and my colleagues next to me would, I think, back me up. I feel like a completely renewed person.
Well, I can agree with that. Having seen you before, I was on Instagram as well, so people can see when you're having a better day or a worse day. And I've seen you on bad days, and of course, it has nothing to do with the Carl I'm seeing now. Mary is asking, Carl, if you're still on PD meds or if they're not needed with the band.
No, I've just been to see my neurologist. He said you don't meet any threshold for Parkinson's. In fact, you are normal and extremely fit and healthy. I passed every neurological test easily. I said, you're going to put that in writing. He said, of course, because it's a fax. He basically is, I don't know what he's going to put in the letter. I've got it. When I get it, I'll send you a copy so you can see it. But essentially, what we're looking at is the potential. Potential. We need to do research of functional cure. That's so in me. But I'm one person. But I think I'm the first person to sustain 5-6 weeks of no meds at my stage of Parkinson's.
Absolutely. Can you remind us again, how many years ago were you diagnosed?
Well, I was diagnosed unofficially just over 3 years ago with a working diagnosis, and that was backed up by a DAT scan 4 months later. But the depletion of dopamine and my symptoms, they put me at, at that time, 10 years in. I was limping 10 years before, but I'm a bloke. I thought I was lifting too many kettlebells. So, my speech was slurring. I was also like about. And then I went downhill relatively quickly because I'm diabetic as well, which can frustrate the disease. So, but yeah.
So Teresa is basically, she just says, I've just bought one. How should I start using it? Well, Teresa, I think that actually, instead of asking Carl to go through the specific instructions, I think it's best to go to the website. I've done it myself.
You will get an email inviting you to a free webinar.
Oh, even better.
You can attend as many as you like. We're committed to working with people. And if the webinar doesn't help you, I run small groups or one-to-ones. We are thoroughly committed to helping everyone with this. It's a mission. So get into a webinar. Join the Facebook community group. It's a super place. Really encourage you. And get as much advice as you can.
So Tim says that the instructions, going back to the instructions, advise people to seek medical advice before using the BeechBand if, for instance, they have a pacemaker.
Yeah.
No, he has a pacemaker.
Yeah.
And in his experience, medical advice is very difficult to secure without months or even years of research and trials. What are your thoughts in this regard? Does it mean that Tim should not be using it at all, or should he try to?
Well, get medical, write to your consultant, demand an answer. Because it's for life.
Lots of people have had an answer.
But yeah, we know of a lot of people with pacemakers using the BeechBand and no one's blown up yet.
Well, and their doctor said it was fine.
Their doctors. Oh yeah, in fact, you're right. We had a cardiac team. I can't remember, in the north of the country, who were doing transplants and triple heart bypasses, and they signed it off as perfectly fine.
So Rohan is basically asking a bit more information about the technology. He says, what kind of actuator does the device use? I don't know what an actuator is. Hopefully one of you knows.
Like the Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe. There's lots of stuff. We've got patents on this, and patent pending. It's a simple but highly effective method of delivery.
Okay, we'll say no more. And Julia says that we mentioned the app, and she's asking if the app is currently available or is it coming? You mentioned you were hiring a developer. Is there a timeline on this, you think?
What's your current timeline, Nick?
Yeah, probably January.
January.
So it's happening very fast. Huh?
Yeah, we're moving like the wind, believe me, because what we've seen happening, we want this all out there.
So someone anonymously is basically saying that his or her uncle received the BeechBand last Thursday and started to use it. He has felt some buzzing in his ears and brain fog, which may or may not be related to the app, to the device. But what would be the correct way to start for a beginner, really, compared to, I just put it on and switch it on, but actually I'm not sure it was the most clever way to start.
So bear in mind, everyone's different and people have different sensitivities to therapies, and there's a lot of anxiety out there. And you have anxiety when you get a new device because is it going to help me? Is it not? You know, what's it going to, what am I going to feel? So sometimes people do have a stress response. You just need to stop and dial back and go, like, I'll put it on for 10 seconds. Now take it off. Put it on for 20 seconds. We'll up to a minute and just get used to it. A lot of people, they just put it on and bang, you know, they're walking again, they're absolutely fine. I would say first thing to do is get it out of the box. And by the way, it's a plain brown box because we don't want to charge you for ridiculously overdone packaging. You get it out of the box. You find a USB-C cable because there's enough out there, so we're not supplying one because then we don't charge you for something you've already probably got. You put it on your wrist and after charge it up for 45 minutes, sit somewhere quiet and just get used to it being on your wrist. And then maybe after 10, 15 minutes, just get on with your day. And then wear it until the battery runs down. And then charge it up and wear it again. And just learn to forget about it. And that's the best thing you can do. Listen, this could be some of the most critical advice I've ever given in my life. Charge it up and wear it for as long as possible every single day. And just get on with your life. It's brain training while you get on with your life.
We can see the sincerity in your eyes, I can tell you that.
Yeah, well, look at me.
I know. So Mark Langley,
There's not just me. Okay.
So Mark is asking which other health conditions are being improved with the BeechBand. You mentioned a few earlier, but apart from Parkinson's.
I can tell you anecdotally what people are telling us. I'll read you the list. This is not, we're not making any claim when I read this. This is the feedback from the general population who have purchased a BeechBand. And this is why we need to do the research urgently. Parkinson's, FND, MND, tremor, stroke, Tourette's, tics, migraine, dyslexia, ADHD, stress, tremors, autism, Alzheimer's, MSA, PSP, brain bleach, brain tumor, and canvas. We had someone from the Alzheimer's Society come over to me at a conference, almost in tears, saying, we put it on someone, and we've had several feedbacks like this. You put it on someone who was screaming all day and just in a terrible state. And when we put it on them, they were calm. And that's everything to us. So
absolutely. Look, Jean is basically saying that she has been using the band for about 6 weeks now. And initially, she seemed to have found more energy and her speech was louder. And she was able to smile again. So that's great news. But now, after a few weeks, 6 weeks, she feels that her balance is not so good and her speech seems to have worsened. She doesn't know what to do. Should she carry on or leave it for a while? She's been wearing it as much as possible.
Yeah, if you've had an initial gain and it seems to go off, I mean, the causes of diseases are interesting. So weirdly, we've had some people wear the device for a time, feel fantastic, and then it seems to decline. And so I've got on the call with them, we're giving them some coaching, and they've actually picked up some bad habits, like they're fixating or they're stressing about this, will it maintain, and it sort of starts to fall apart. The other thing is sometimes people have started to feel terrible when they wear it, but when they take it off, they feel better without meds. So, like, some people are feeling really tired. They put a band on, they're just really sleepy. And then Nick said to me, my co-inventor actually, he said, well, that makes sense. Because if your body's fighting something, it shuts you down and get really tired. I got that. I went through a period of months, I was just so tired wearing the band. And then I felt better. So it will do what it will do. The best thing I can suggest is drop us a line. I'd like to jump on a call with you and try and understand it. And that could be a focus of research for us.
Yeah. So Julia is coming from an interesting angle. She basically says that you mentioned, Carl, to ask a clinician in relation to wearing the BeechBand together with DBS, for instance. But she says that as a clinician, she doesn't feel she's informed enough to advise people that this should be safe. So how can she access this information? I guess probably through your scientific research that you're going to be kickstarting pretty soon.
I think so. But also, I would suggest that patient testimonies are just as valid as clinical research in many ways. I mean, there's 15,000 devices out there with many people reporting substantially life-changing outcomes. And I think that should be listened to.
Yeah. Someone is asking if it's okay to wear the band while driving a car.
Yeah. But not if you such so severe symptoms that you are alleviated when you're wearing a band, but if your band turns off, you fall apart, then no. So there's an element of common sense here. So if this is brain in training, which it seemed to happen to me, that's my lived experience, then you have to make sensible decisions around that. So it's like saying, I take an anti-inflammatory medication that makes me really drowsy. Am I right to drive a car? No, you're really not. So you have to make judgments on that. Like we say to people, if you're first using the device and you're not used to it, when you turn it off, you feel like you're being dropped from a great height. So you sit down before you turn it off. So if the band stops and you fall apart, don't drive until you've got past that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Peter is asking, interestingly, if he should stop wearing the Q1 if he's wearing the BeechBand.
I'm not going to comment.
Is there something as to get too much vibrations?
Look, again, I'm not going to talk down anyone else's business. What I would say is, don't be a one-man band. One of your instruction tank for instantly is going off. I don't think that could be quite confusing. But if it works for you, it works for you. And an area of research for us would be a specific frequency delivered consistently sends a signal to your subconscious brain in the basal ganglia. Is extremely powerful. Multiple signals going in that are different could be a confusion. I don't know. So it's research. But what I do know is the efficacy of the device that we created is very, very strong. And I think it's for a reason. And the reason it hits different conditions, it could be the Goldilocks frequency.
So Jackie seems to expect, she's basically saying, how do I get my name on the list? Well, actually, Jackie, I don't think it's a question of a list. I know the Q1 used to have a list. There is no list for you. You just go on the website and you buy it if you want it.
£49.50. plus postage packaging, be on your wrist in 3 days.
Excellent. Someone is asking if the device helps regulate the nervous system by stimulating the vagus nerve. I don't think that's your target,
Oh,
but
well,
is it?
yes, so the mother's heartbeat was my way of stimulating the vagus nerve. I just don't like, I like to keep things a little bit level, you know.
Mhm.
We don't know. We've got to research it. I mean, it seems to make people feel really calm. Let me just say that. I feel very relaxed wearing it. I'm a little bit kind of on the ADHD spectrum, right? I think people would want me to wear 15 BeechBands because I'm very calm when I'm wearing one.
Mhm.
And that's what we're told. We've seen people who are highly stressed, really relaxed. People talk to me about parasympathetic nervous system, vagus nerve. We are told people feel very calm when they wear it. Mother's heartbeat seems to trigger something in people who'd had a negative experience of birth. It seems to be something wonderful to people who, don't. I was inspired by the Bible. I love it or hate it. It was Psalm 139. I needed to get in my mother's womb. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I thought that's a good starting point. I felt good in my mother's womb. When I came out, I had to pay tax. For me, that's the safest place I've been. That was my inspiration. It's my favourite psalm in the Bible. I mean, I failed A-level chemistry, Michelle. I'm not a scientist, but I'm a counterintuitive thinker. I think this is a gift from heaven to us.
So Isaac is asking whether after a while you still need to use it full time or you can reduce the use. I think you explained that you don't use it as much as you did in the full.
Did you say eyesight?
Isaac.
The name Isaac.
Oh, Isaac. I thought you said eyesight because there's something.
No. Sorry, Isaac. Isaac is the name of the person asking the question, and Isaac is asking whether you need to use it full time after a period of time. You can reduce the use after a while.
I don't know. I am symptom and medication free. I'm not risking that. I tried for 8 days. I took nothing, no BeechBand, no meds. And I had a little creep back of my last symptom of last bit of progression, which was cervical dystonia. I think if it was mainly in training, I hadn't fully nailed that one. It was very mild, but I did get it. So I've been wearing it 2-3 hours a day every day, and that seems to be stronger every day. The other interesting thing is I wore glasses full time. They're very focals. My eyesight is terrible. I don't wear glasses anymore. In fact, I've got friends who are telling me they don't wear the glasses anymore. Now, PD can affect your eyesight, right? It affects tracking. So maybe it's that. But
Louise is asking quite a good question, actually. She's asking whether, I guess the answer is no, if you have done another DAT scan since you have basically seen your symptoms improve.
I've booked one. Yeah. My neurologist, the first thing he said, I think it's still going to be abnormal. So I think what you've done is find a way to functionally overcome the disease, which is good for me. I feel great. But interesting if somehow the device has stimulated the growth of dopamine neurons, because I don't know how to put this. Maybe our dopamine neurons aren't dead. Maybe they were dormant or gone back to an embryonic state. And maybe that signal, that creative signal, has stimulated and told them where to develop again. Because my moods feel incredibly light and joyful, and I'm getting reward buzz again. I've never buzz for a long time.
Have you had a second DAT scan already, or are you planning to have one?
I'm trying to.
You booked it.
I'm hoping it would be quick, but if it's NHS, I will spend company made to get one quick.
That would be really interesting information.
Yeah, let's find out. Wouldn't it be amazing if I got a normal DAT scan? So
Liz is asking if it has improved your sleep.
Yeah, sleep like a baby. Fantastic. I mean, look at me, the fresh as a daisy. Been working all day. Feel fantastic.
So the kind of post here from Andy is quite amazing. He says, I've just put it on my ankle on the opposite side of my symptoms at 8 o'clock as suggested by Carl, and my freezing and shuffling have stopped and I'm walking around freely. Blimey. So as I said in the introduction, this will not work for everyone, but it's great to see that for Andy, we have real-time success here.
It'll work for a lot of people, but go by what we've been told.
Yeah.
But don't expect immediate. If you do that and nothing happens, let me say it again.
Yeah.
Wear it as much as possible every single day, 7 days a week, and stick with it.
So 2 questions here that come on the same topic. 2 people asking if you have tried wearing it in bed. That is, if your wife doesn't mind the vibrating noise.
Well, I live alone, so the only thing I'm upset is the oldest teddy bear I've ever had, Cookie Monster.
You're wearing it at night? You're wearing it in bed?
I've actually recommended to people to put it under the mattress because the resonance comes through the mattress, and that's worked for them. But bearing in mind, you will fall asleep most likely, and the battery will run out, and then the battery creeps back the energy. So it's got this weird thing, and it starts going off again intermittently, and it'll wake you up all your night. So, you know, easy come, easy go.
So 2 people have asked the same question, actually. They say, why do the symptoms worsen for a short while? Is that the case, first of all? Do we expect the symptoms to worsen first? Yes?
Yeah, loads of people say that. So for me, it's such a shock. I think the body's, like, you just feel like the old you. And it's such a shock when that suddenly stops. You know, and then I think you adapt. And then the brain, if it is brain in training, the brain starts to receive and understand what's happening and processes it. So you don't feel worse. And then what happens is this mysterious thing. After a bit of time, and it seems to, we were told, to happen very quickly, people wear the band a lot, suddenly you realise, oh, I can continue to walk. One bloke said, oh, the band had run out when I ran normally for 15 minutes, or I was walking normally. And then that grows and grows and grows. And then people find that they're not reaching for the medication because they feel fine. Then they realise, oh, I'm on medication all day. And then they turn the band off and they're fine. And they think, what's happening? And then after a couple of days, the symptoms creep back. So they wear the band again. And over a period of time, the pattern seems to be that you end up.
So look, I have stopped counting the number of questions we have answered. I think it must be something like 60, which is a world record for the 40 or 50 webinars we have done, Carl. So well done. And we have answered almost all questions. I will stop it there. We are a bit over the time I had allocated, but it is really great. So Carl, thank you so much. I mean, this is something which will basically be staying in people's mind for a while. You'll be thinking about it and be looking for more feedback, more input, more trials. Should they, if they have any more questions, should they just use the website and send to you?
Yeah, any problems, if someone's bought a device, they're struggling with it, go to support@beechband.com. Look, we really want to hear from you. If it's not working or working, we want to hear both. We're committed to journeying this through. I do honestly believe we're on a threshold. Research will show us something very, very profound. And we're going to take it all the way if we can. We want to. I mean, my life has changed immeasurably in just a few weeks.
Okay, we can see that. And so thank you so much for the time you have dedicated today. I think that actually this is probably one of the most impactful interviews you have done because it comes just after additional benefits you have just recently felt by using the device yourself.
Let me show you, Michelle, to sit in front of your neurologist.
Yes.
Could you diagnose me with Parkinson's today when I was in such a terrible state? And I had a belt and braces diagnosis with that scan. And he looked at me and he went, Carl, normal. And you're very fit and healthy. I burst into tears, actually. I couldn't breathe.
And I know who your neurologist is, and I can confirm he's one of the most prominent neurologists in the world. So thank you so much, Carl. Thank you really to your team as well. Thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Before I stop the recording and say goodbye to everyone, I just wanted to mention that our next webinar will be on the 6th of October. And we will have the pleasure of listening to Brianna De Miranda from the University of Alabama. She will be talking to us about how the environment affects Parkinson's, and more importantly, what you can do about it. So see you on the 6th of October. Carl and team, thank you so much, and goodbye to everyone.
Say goodbye, boys.
Cheers.
Hello, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.